All right, so welcome everyone. If you are catching me live, welcome. I am glad that you're joining me today. If you are new to me, new to my community, and you haven't really, some of you know me, some of you don't quite know me just yet. My name is Jen Dice. I am a marketing strategist. I initially got started in Pinterest, but overall that has kind of blossomed into more marketing strategy blended with through the lens of human design. And what that just means is just figuring out a way to market your business in a way that aligns with you, so that it feels good, so that you're not trying to fit yourself into somebody else's box or framework, that you are consistent, you have permission to market yourself in a way that works for you. That is kind of the premise behind this community and the content that I'm putting out. So today we are going to dive in and chat a little bit about what is human design. So this is something where I've tended to talk a lot about marketing, especially in the realm of organic marketing, Pinterest marketing, marketing strategies, sales funnels, all of that stuff when it comes to marketing your business. But now we're going to take a little bit of a shift and just dive into what human design is. So you can get an understanding of just what it is, what it all consists of, and then I'm going to give you a couple of tips that you can walk away with today of how you can use it and get started with it for yourself. So what I wanted to start with when we're looking at human design is I'm going to pull up a really good definition of it, but basically it's more lenient on the lines of a spiritual tool. It blends in some other systems. So there's other definitions that you will find out there that say that it is a combination of science, scientific tools, somewhere along those lines where it just blends in different systems. So I found a good definition that I love, and it's one that I identify with. So I'm going to share that with you today. This definition is from mybodygraph.com. And this is also a place where you can go, and I'll talk to that later about where you can go to get your own chart and get started with it. So human design, it's a new system of self-knowledge that differs fundamentally from anything else that exists in the world. It is not built on belief or faith, but is a logical, empirical system that offers you the opportunity to experiment with its mechanics and find out for yourself if it works for you. Human design shows you a concrete map of your own nature and provides you with the simple tools for making correct decisions, being yourself, eliminating resistance in your life. Human design offers you the opportunity to discover yourself and begin to understand and accept your very nature. And that, in a nutshell, is what I love about this tool and about how it works, is that there is no hard and fast rules with it. I am somebody where just in my own unique nature, I highly, highly value freedom. And I value that free will, and I value that freedom to be able to flex and move and do things in my life and my business. I don't do well with rigid structure. So this is something where bringing this tool into my own personal journey, my own personal life and business, and also, I've kind of gone to the extent of pulling charts for my kids and my husband, and it's giving me insight into how to better approach both of my kids from a parenting perspective. I'm not a parenting expert, but I'm just saying that it's a way to better understand who you are at your core. So that's kind of a definition of what human design is. If we're talking a little bit about the history of human design, where does it come from? How did it come to be? So the original founder of the human design system, I might mess up his name, but his name was Alan Robert Krakauer, and he was from Canada. And then he's under the surname Ra Uru Hu. And so that is the name you might hear credited with the human design system, is Ra Uru Hu. He is the founder. So he's originally from Canada. And he traveled to the island of Ibiza, I think in the 80s, and he spent some time there working as a school teacher. And then ultimately somewhere in the mid to late 80s, I believe, he had like an unusual mystical experience where he had an encounter. So basically he downloaded this system My guess is from source, from spirit. It was more of a divine download of this entire system. And that was something that that encounter with that download lasted about 8 days. And then he kind of got all of that information and created and developed this system. So as you can see, it's not something that was like founded in like scientific, like it doesn't have like a huge scientific background or history, but the foundation of the design tool, the human design tool, is much more spiritual, and it does bring in a few other tools that make it all up and combine it all together. So that's kind of the differentiating factor. And I have found through my own growth in my business and through my own personal growth, through my own personal healing, things that I have done along the way, I definitely identify with a tool that's gonna, bring me a little bit closer to who I am, but also something that resonates with me on a spiritual level. So that's just a little bit of the history of it. And then I think after that encounter in the 80s, he went on to develop and dedicated the rest of his life to teaching this. And so he has developed teaching systems for the human design system. And so there are different schools and trainings out there to learn more about the system itself. So then that kind of gives you a definition of it. It talks to you a little bit about who developed it. So now I wanted to touch on the 4 systems that are encompassed or umbrellaed into this, and that is astrology. So both Eastern and Western astrology. It is the chakra system. The Hindu Brahmin chakra system is a part of this. The Kabbalah is also a part of this, and the I Ching system is also a part of this. So those 4 systems make up the human design system. So it's very, very cool if you get into it and go deeper into it and figure out not just your energy type, and the main foundation of it is learning your energy type, your strategy, and your authority. And that's kind of the biggest foundational piece. But then if you dive into it and you really look at the gates and the channels and the defined centers that you have, like those gates really align astrologically. So we all have sun gates, earth gates, and stuff, and those kind of help envelop and really paint a picture of what we are put on this earth to do, the purpose that we have to fulfill in this lifetime. So that kind of talks through a few of the systems that make up the human design system. And so I love it. I personally, just on a personal side note, in the background of all of this, I am also working through Reiki certification. So I am in Reiki level 1 training right now, and I am working on getting a Reiki level 1 certification. In the spring, I'm going to be working on getting a Reiki level 2 certification. And then from there, I'll decide if I want to go on to become more of a master with Reiki. But that also pulls in that pulls for me the chakra systems and everything, and that balance. So it's a balance of this spiritual side, this spiritual tool, that also can blend in with the structure and the energy behind just the traditional marketing that we know of today. So that is a little bit behind the history of what human design is and what consists of it and who founded it and everything. And as I talk through this, if you guys in the community want to post on this thread below, you can drop some questions in the comments, and I'm always happy to answer them for you guys. The third thing I wanted to chat about to you guys today was the energy type. So once you go in, what you can do, I'll give you if you go to the domain mybodygraph.com and you enter your birth data, it will give you your human design chart. Some of you may have already pulled a human design chart, but it's just this mass of colored centers and channels and things that just looks all confusing. The biggest thing you want to gain from that, and I'll talk about this in a minute, is just knowing your energy type and the strategy associated with that energy type, and then your authority. Those are kind of the biggest pieces to getting started with it. But we're going to talk about the 5 energy types. So when you pull your chart, you're going to be one of 5 energy types. And those energy types are generator, which I am a generator, manifesting generator, projector, manifester, and reflector. So each energy type has its own associated strategy that goes with it. So as me as a generator, my strategy is to respond. So if you are a manifester, your strategy is to inform. So each of us within our energy type, we have a strategy that goes with that energy type. Now, with that energy type and that strategy, you have also an authority that goes with that. And so, and that just goes based on which colored center. So if you pull up your human design chart and you have different colored centers, the summary should give you what your authority is. And that's just based on a hierarchy of what you have colored in on your chart. So if you're a reflector, reflectors don't have anything, any centers defined on their charts. So they obviously have a different lunar authority, and they're the only ones that have that authority that go with their strategy. So that's just kind of a cool way. So if you figure out what your authority is and you pair that and you work based off of your strategy and your authority, those pieces help you to make decisions that are in alignment with you and work for you. And in a different, I'll probably go into this in another video, but that's just kind of the basics of where you can get started if you're interested in learning more about human design for yourself, because you want to learn more about it for yourself and figure out more of who you are. And then you can start to pull different pieces from it and to see how that will apply in other areas, and to see how that will apply in your life, in your relationships with your family, with your kids. And like I said, I'm not a relationship expert. I'm not a parenting expert, but you can start to pull some of these pieces of information. And from my end of it, being able to help you pull those nuggets of information and figure out what your superpowers are from your charts, and then apply that to your business and to your marketing. Like that's kind of where my space is at here. So how can you use it? So to wrap this up for today, just to give you some takeaways from this training, is if you want to use the human design chart, the first step would be to go to get your chart, number one. So you want to get your chart. The one place you can go that I love going to is mybodygraph.com. You'll be able to pull your chart and get a little bit of information right out front. The other one is Jovian Archive. And I can put the links to those in the thread below this video. So those are two places you can go. Jovian Archive, you can get your chart, but it doesn't stay. Every time you go to that link, you have to re-pull your chart up again. If you go to mybodygraph.com, you can pull your chart and it will save your chart. So you can always have access to it. So that's one reason why I like using it, because I just have charts that, like, my personal chart is always pulled up there. So go get your chart. You're going to have to enter your birth data, and that's going to include like your birth date. Your birth time is another one. There are ways that you can, like my birth certificate for my own self. I don't have a birth time on there. I'm going by what my mom told me. But there's ways that you can also go a little bit. If you lean into the astrology piece of that, you can figure out where your most aligned birth time would be within that day of birth. And there's ways you can work around it, but to the best of your knowledge and the best of your ability, try to locate your birth time and enter that into the chart data, because that's going to help give you an accurate reading. I know for one of my kiddos, because the moon shifts, and so the gates on the chart shift, and sometimes that will shift enough to light up certain channels, so it will shift your entire energy center. So I know for one of my kiddos, I entered the time wrong, and it's within the hour she can shift from a projector to a manifester. And so that's why you just want to make sure that within that 24 hour, I'm sorry, within the day, not within the hour, but within the day, her body graph shifts from projector to manifester, just depending on her birth time of that day. So you have to, that's the only thing, is just making sure that if you're entering that, make sure that your main energy type does not shift throughout the course of the day. Your gates, channels, stuff like that might shift a little bit as the moon moves through that day. But so if you can do that, that would be the best way to get started. Grab your body graph, and then find out your energy type. What are you? Are you a generator, manifesting generator, projector, manifestor, reflector? And then you can learn a little bit about with your energy type, that strategy that comes with you. I think if you go to mybodygraph.com, it gives you a little summary of what it means for each of your strategy types that accompanies your main energy type. So just kind of read up on that. So for me, being a generator, my strategy is to respond. And so just learning that and knowing that, that helps me kind of pull some information together of how I'm meant to operate. Like, I'm not meant to force things to happen. Even though I'm a generator, I have a great source of energy within my chart defined. I have access, I can tap into consistent energy. And that includes for me sheer willpower. I have that center defined. So I can, if all else fails, I can ride and live on my willpower for not forever. I've learned that, not forever, but I have access to that. But if I access and tap into that energy in the incorrect way, I get burnt out. And so those are some things to kind of lean into and learn about, like so if you're not following your particular strategy, that's how you work with your energy type. And then your authority is going to help guide you on how to make decisions when you kind of combine the two of those together. So for me to respond, like it's not in the sense that I have to wait for things to happen for me to respond to, but it's more becoming aware of what is around me, what is happening around me, how can I tune in better to what is happening around me in order to respond to things, and then making the correct decision on how to respond using my authority. And then just experiment with that. So experimenting with making your decisions, tuning into your authority center, tuning into that, and understanding what that feels like within your body, and starting to trust that with small things, and then gradually starting to lean into trust that with bigger things, like bigger business decisions. So you can start with choosing what you want to eat for lunch. That would be a small decision, versus how you want to structure and strategize your next launch. That's kind of the whole ebb and flow with that too. So I hope that was helpful. Today, I just wanted to introduce you guys to what human design is, its origins, what's all a part of it. And then I think as we go forward, I'll probably dive into some more trainings. Thursday, I will be back chatting with you guys more about, I think it was like how to use your design. I have like my notes too. But I wanted this training to feed into that training, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to pull this up here. Yeah. So like how to determine your human design. We kind of touched on that a little bit today. But we'll probably dive into like, maybe diving into like determining your human design. Maybe I'll do a little screen share and pull up a chart and just talk through a couple of things of where you can find things and how you can kind of do this to get started for yourself. And then I think as we go on, I'll probably dive into some of the different energy types and the really cool things that each energy type brings to this world. And all the work that they do. So again, if you guys are catching this on the replay, #replay, if you have questions, please drop them below. I'm really excited to talk more about this. I will be bringing back more topics on marketing because all of this blends together. But I truly believe if you kind of get into this mindset of really focusing and figuring out, starting with you first at who you are at your core, and figuring out how to just really work with your energy type and your strategy and your authority, that's going to give you the foundation of how to then go forward, make better decisions, and then even dive deeper into your design so you can really figure out like what pieces and parts within those defined those colored in centers on your chart, what pieces and parts of those are your unique superpower. So not every generator is the same, because the definition in my chart is different from, say, my husband. He is another generator, but he has completely differently defined centers than I do. So we are two different generators. I have a daughter who is a projector, and she is in a house of generators. So she is surrounded by all of this energy. But between my husband, my youngest, and myself, we're 3 generators, and my oldest daughter is a projector. None of us, the 3 generators, are the same. So we all have different centers that are defined. We all have different gates that are activated, and those gates, you can leverage those because that's how you can access and tap into that energy. And those are your superpowers, those gates, those channels, and then just figuring out like what your purpose is. So hope this was helpful. I'm going to hop off and I will see you guys on Thursday. Just letting you know, I'm going to be posting in here. I'm not putting this out super publicly yet, but I'm going to open up 5 spots on my calendar for human design readings for you guys in here, and then a couple other groups that I'm really tight-knitly a part of. So I'm only offering 5 readings for $55, and then the price after that, the readings will go up. So these are for level 1 readings. So if you want to sit down and actually go through your human design chart and figure out, number 1, how best to figure out what your energy type is and how best to utilize that in combination with your strategy and authority, and then looking at some of those defined centers on your chart to figure out how you can best leverage those consistent sources of energy. That is kind of the premise of what a level 1 reading will include. So I'm going to be publishing that probably in another week or 2. I will open up my calendar for that. But again, that will be only 5 people get the $55 rate. And then after that, it goes up to $111. All right. Have a wonderful day, guys. Thank you so much if you're tuning in on the replay. It's been awesome. I will see you guys on Thursday. All right. Bye.